Oops. Hello and welcome to this video. We're streaming live at the moment. What I'd like to do today is to check on a PC that I've got at the moment. So, if you've watched any of the previous videos, you might know about this PC. It's the Dell that I recently installed the operating system on, with the dual booting, XP and Linux. And it's been running fine for about I can't remember the last time that I did a video, maybe a couple of weeks or a month ago, and it's been doing fine. It's running 24 hours in the way, and it's just been streaming an audio system, and that's it. So it's been working fine. But today it seems to have done something a little different, because when I came in from general work, I normally came around and turned the audio system on, and the music should come on. But when I did it today, nothing came out of the PC, so I thought it might have been a issue with the site, because there's a website link up. It could be just the player's crashed. So I turned the monitor on to the PC, and I noticed that the monitor is completely black, or showing no display, like the monitor is off, but it was actually powered up and everything to the PC. Also, I noticed there's no activity on the hard drive or anything else, so that was odd. And also I thought it was pretty odd also because it's running on the Linux, so there's no blue screen or anything else, and it's just like something's just completely held the system. So that is not often what I have issues with, because normally I've done it loads of times with Linux where they may just crash or general things, but I've never had it do a black screen before and no activity at all. It's like the entire system's just locked up. So I thought I thought I'd just see what's wrong with it and just do a video about it. But also I'm going to reinstall a clean installation, just put one OS on this, because I don't need to have the other one on it anymore. And I thought I'd just set it up and do this general thing. So I haven't done anything with the system yet. I've just simply moved it, just hooked up the monitor and anything else to it, so that it can be viewed to see what it is. And if any faults occur, we can find out why it is. So nothing has changed on the system. It's not nicked at the network. It's just as it was. I just pulled it out from under the desk behind it and just hooked it up again. So let's see what happens. It may boot, it may not. Okay, so that's the power. So the power's on there, yep. Okay, so push the power button. Right, okay, so this is the general boot screen. So it's still run a dynasty boot. Normally it doesn't take this long to boot. It normally comes up straight away. So what's going on. It normally doesn't take this long to boot the system. Normally it goes along and does everything. So it's doing something. Also, notice on the front of the display, the hard drive activity light is on, and it's not blinking anything else. So something's gone. So it's gone, and I've just heard the system beep. So the diagnostic warning beep come off the system. 2 beeps. So it looks like, and there's a message on the display. It says, primary drive 0 not found. Strike the F key, continue, or T to run a solidity. So it looks like it's not found the primary drive 0. This is not good news. It could be the hard drive that's failed. So this is basic information of it. So it's a Phoenix BIOS, Dell series, and the BIOS and everything on there, and the address to go to. So it looks like there's a problem with the system. And I heard 2 beeps go off of it. There's an internal buzzer on these that do it. A lot of machines have it, but a lot of few modern systems don't have it anymore. Well, the buzzer's not there. The head is still on the actual motherboard, but they don't hooked up anymore. And they're actually handy because the beeps can tell you a lot of things with a system. Lots of other things as well can tell different systems, and that's one reason I want to Actually, one thing I want to tell you that as well. So, and this system has actually got a few other things that can tell it as well. So, first of all, I need to figure out what's gone wrong with it, and see what's happened with it. So yeah. So like I said before, it had a diagnostic error beep of 2, and this thing has also got diagnostic LEDs on the back. That's why it's round the other way, because you can see some LEDs. Now and then there's some LEDs right under here. It's difficult to see because there are some cables, but it's underneath this part here. If I take the keyboard and mouse out at the moment, it's not going to do anything. But you should be able to see some LEDs underneath there lit up. They range from A, B, C and D. Now then, when the system's normally booted, all 4 LEDs should light up green, but one LED, which is D, is lit up amber. So that's telling me there's a general fault with this LED. So this is the diagnostic LEDs. Put these in now for now. So the way you can do that is you can actually go and look for the manufacturer's service manual for that. But also, if your machine, some other modern motherboards have the same thing. Like my main PC down here has 3 LEDs on it, marked CPU, VRAM, boot, and CPU. So, obviously GPU. So if you turn the system on, they blink up, and they all go out. It's working fine. But if one stays on, it means there's a fault. That's the little area. Other motherboards have a 2-digit number at the top, which flashes different indicators, and it freezes. You look at the manual, it tells you what it is. So, lots of systems have it. But if you don't need all of that, the buzzer is the general thing you should be watching out for, because that is a very good old school, which has been in machines for years now. That's still working. Some motherboards do have it. It's just that some cases don't have the buzzer anymore, but you can easily get one. And I have one in my kit when I'm doing check for PCs, because sometimes you turn the system on and it may not do anything. And if you put the buzzer on, sometimes it beeps to say there's some issues. Because, for instance, if you had a memory issue or memory other issues that won't show a display, you don't know what the error is, and there's no indications, but if you put the buzzer on, it'll tell you. I have a test system that does that occasionally, where it would beep at 8 codes because of the memory, just to reseat it. But yeah, that's a general thing of that one. So yeah, but no, that's what the general gifs are and everything else. So yeah, so I'm going to show you the various ways of finding it out. So first of all, if your display works like it is saying, this is primary 0, so that means the drive's not seen. This is an old system without SATA, so it's got 2 ID ports about this big, primary and secondary. 0 or primary and secondary. 0 means it's the first one on the row, so there's 2 you can fit on it. 0 and 1, master and slave. So this is telling me the hard drive's not seen. So that's one problem with that. But like I say, now I'm going to switch over to the desktop and show you more information what you can do with each one. So all links are in this. So just find the one. So this is the main desktop. And so this is the website here, which I found handy. It's called BAS Beeper Code Viewer. So this is a little software you can download. This is a format, and this is very handy because it gives you all information on majority of BIOSes and everything else, and it tells you the beep code. So that's what I've done now. I've downloaded it. It's in a zip. So I'm just going to extract the zip and run the program. This is the program here. So this is actually pulled the information on my machine. So if the machine's working, it did this. It can also pull information up. So for instance, it's told me it's manufacturer, motherboard, a revision, BIOS date, what the BIOS is, and the BIOS version. So this can also identify the BIOS if you're unsure what the BIOS is on your machine or the version. So this is handy for that. As you can see, it says here ID, motherboard ID. So this is all the beep codes for my system, for instance. So if you click on one, it shows you down here what that does. So beep 1 beep, which all systems do if they've got the buzzer fitted, means everything's okay. Now this thing gave 2 short beats, and this is a Phoenix ROM. So it's a Phoenix motherboard. So it'd be this one here. As you can see, a lot of dashes. Now the dashes represent different things. So if I remember rightly, It's been a while since I've done this. Oh, you go. So say code is a little more complicated. The bar sentence is 3 examples. For example, 1 pause, 3 pause, 3 pause, 3 pause. This is no, I didn't do that. 2 short bits. Sorry, I had to figure it. Let's see. Like I say, each manufacturer has a variety of codes, but I had to reboot the system again and listen carefully because I had a headset on, so I'm going to do it again. I think I can just do the. I had to listen to this. Sorry about this. Also, I noticed that I don't hear the hard drive because this thing does make a little whine when it starts up. And I'm behind the monitor, but I'm just listening carefully to this. I can hear the fan. There's one fan in here. That's it. And I do beeps again. And it's saying the same thing. So I'm just trying to figure out what's. No, it's not that one. Beep, 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 beep. Not that one. Nope. This one's here. One for Compact, one for IBM. There we go. It's just dell. I have to keep going around if I figure out what one it is. There's loads of lists here. Dimension, no, dimension, dimension 300. This is going to be fun to look at. But like I say, it's got different ones because, like I say, this Phoenix Intel, I think they now are another company. It's very difficult to find the right ones. It says Gateway, Gateway Marlin, Packer Bell. IBM, Dell Dimension R, no, Dimension T, no. Dimension, nope. Gateway. So this one takes a long time. So yeah. So yeah, but also sometimes manufacturers give their own beeps code. So let's find out about that. So what we'll do is, let's close that now and go to the Dell's website, which is here. And I'll go to support, view all support, and this will bring up bring up the support for the actual thing. Brings up the support, so you go to the website, drop down support and all support, and it says enter tag, serial number, service request, model, or keyword. So what you do is type it here. Now all Dells have a label which has the service tag. So this one's got one, so it's 1QBXJ1J. They all have a unique code. And if I click go, it will look at the it will start looking for its database and find it. It still finds a lot of old systems in the database, which is good. So it says here support dimension 3000, the models, service taking, and the express service code. And a few things to do there. There's some tests. So if you go down here, there's one for drive and download. So this is why you need to reload the drivers. Also, if you need to find new buses, and download, I want to go to manual and documents. So this is all the documentation. So the owner manual is basically the book that gives you information about how to do everything about the machine, about how to set it up in general, set up diagrams as a setup diagram. Now there's an additional document here called the Dell Dimension 3000 System Service Manual. And then the service manual is the one that you want if you want to find diagnostics, because this service manual, and I think it's pretty good, a lot of manufacturers like Acer, Dell, Compaq do this, well HP, is that if you download the system manual, this thing can tell you everything about the system. So it tells you how to diagnose faults more in depth. Also, it can tell you how to upgrade and dismantle the system. So this is very good if you're going to do a laptop, because it can tell you exactly how to take it apart without you guessing, because there's always certain ways to take things apart. Desktop's not really good, but like if you've got a specific built one, like a smaller form factor or anything else, it's very brilliant for that. So if you can find the service manual for your system, it's very good. It's a 3000 series system, so it means that the range of that entire series, because there's different models depending on hardware. So yeah, so you just right click PDF and download. I already downloaded it earlier on, so it's this folder here. So bring it up. So this is the actual manual here. So like you say, for instance, the first page tells you everything is on it. So where the service tag is, and anything else, and like this is an example of one that's there. And the back. So this tells you where everything is. And this is on for everything greatest how it may not present all computers. So it's all the warnings. So what I want to do down here is find advanced troubleshooting, this little one here. So click there, and straight away it says it diagnostic lights. So this is those little indicators are showed at the back of the system. So it gives you everything about that. Yes, as it says it, after the computer starts, all fire lights started green. If the computer malfunctions, the colour and sequence of lights then tell us the problem. So a lot of manufacturers still do this. I think it's pretty brilliant. So what I'm looking for is the list of patterns. So it says it green, yeah, so one yellow source. So I need to find the one that says it's on a D. So to keep going down. Here we go. So yeah, so the date says another failure has occurred, and it says ensure that the cable is properly connected to the system board from the hard drive, CD drive and DVD-ROM drive. If there's an error message on your screen, identify a problem with a device. Check the device to make sure it's properly. The operating system is attempted to boot from the device. Check system setup, make sure that the boot sequence is correct for the device. But basically it's telling me here, this little indicator means that there's some problem with a device, so either the CD or the hard drive. Now, the system booted with a display, so that's still the second section. So I need to check to make sure that the device is hooked up and working properly. So it's a simple, but like I say, this diagnostic edit is also pretty brilliant, because for instance, if I didn't have a display and it was something else was causing it, I can look at that and say, oh, memory, so I can rearrange the memory or something else on the board. That's from anything from displaying. So yeah, so this is a very good handy little tip for that. So let's look at the hard drive. So what I'm going to do is power it off first. We need to do that. And I'm going to do another section here. So there's no one below it says remove and installing parts. So let's do this for the last minute. So this is ideal if you want to know how to remove it. So yeah, how to move it and that, and gives you a view of all the hardware. So let's see what to do. Go down to, so like for instance tells you how to remove the part. So it tells you how to remove the case, because some cases are easy, some are difficult. So I also need to check first to see if the hardware is come loose. It does. So take off the case. Now let's have a look. So let's, before I do that, I'm going to switch back to the main view so you can see what's going on. So that's it. So this is an internal part of this one. And then there's a little green LED down the bottom here. A lot of machines have this LED, and it's just alerting me that there's power to the board. Even though the system's off, it's still power to the board, to the power supply, to the motherboard. It's in standby power. Very handy if you, all machines have this, so it's very handy if you want to turn the power supply off, that go out, so if you're going to be messing around with putting parts in it, you'll be able to turn it off. So and here's the hard drive here. It sits in the front here, it's sort of fixed up against the front here. Most of the time I find drives when they're done this way is sort of prone to failure because of the vertical or horizontal, but as long as it's secure it's fine, but it's general. So what I need to do first is make sure that cables are in, so unplug the power, make sure the power is in, and make sure the ribbon cable, this is the old style, is in, so that's in, and also to the board, so there's two, so it's the one on the front here that goes to the hard drive. On the back here goes to the optical drive up here. So they're all in correctly. So that's that. So turn the power on again to make sure. Right, so first thing, do that, see what it does. Still hanging. It's gonna ping the same error message again. I should be able to hear server script in the mic because it's doing this. There's it. 2 beeps again and same error message, so that's that. The next thing is I'm going to change the power cable to another one in case it's this power cable. So I'll root it. Find another Molex cable. Now a lot of these are actually covered because there's 1, 2, 3 of them because you can fit multiple devices, so they've sort of, you know, capped them to the ones that are not used. So I'm going to use the next one up. So I'm going to take the cap off. Put the other one for safekeeping and put this into the hard drive to make sure it's not the power connector's got a fault. And I run off the same link to the other one anyway, so this is still going up here and powering this. So let's power off again. Optical drive's flashed. This one's got an old belt on it, so it's not opening and closing right. Hard drive light activity is on, so there's no problem with the power. Because anyways, if you had no power to it, the front LED on the front of the hard drive won't come on. So it's still got the issue. So I think that the actual hard drive's gone on this machine because it's not spinning. There's one way to find out. If I put the power back in and I disconnect it from the motherboard itself, so the machine can't detect it. So there's the ribbon cable disconnected. So the hard drive's isolated from the board. Turn it on now. The hard drive activity light's blinking. There you go, it's done it straight away. And it's saying primary drive 0 not found. So this time it did it straight away, saying me no hard drive's hooked up and the light's out. So it looks to me like the hard drive has actually failed on this machine. Not surprising because there was no driver put in, but yeah, so I need to put a new drive in this, and that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to use this another one I have laying around because I have many ID drives. You can still buy them for old systems, which I might have to do later on for another system, but I'm just going to put one in it for now to make it all work. So I'm going to show you how to do it with this machine. So I'm going to power it off again. And I'm going to disconnect it from the mains, so it's going to work on it. So I'll plug it. Move the monitor around here just a bit so we can see the. Put the monitor down for just a tick. We don't need it. In a minute, so I can get some room to do some work with this system. So I was able to do that. So let's see if we can change this drive. No, I'm going to have to get another one. Oops. That's me knocking against it because of the cable. So I need another hard drive. So at the moment I'm just going to rob it from this machine from now. This is an older one from this model. It's an IBM, it's still an ID drive. So it's got an 80 gig in it, and I'm going to use this one for now because, like I say, this one's not used often, and I can get another drive for this later on if I want to. So yeah, so to do that, I have to remove the front, and it's the same vertical front. This one had a hard drive failure, so it looks like the vertical drives don't like these drives don't like being way up often. So yeah, so it's 2 from these type of vertical drive mounting. Anyways, so yeah, so let's take those out. Same thing. See, ribbon. This is another ribbon one. So take that out. Take that out. I've been pretty good since it's a slide out. So there's the hard drive. I'm just going to take the actual fixings off, so I need a screwdriver. So let's see if I can get my toolkit here. Where did I put that one? Is it on walkies? Yeah, I must have put that somewhere. Would you know? Oh, well, just do some nominated. Okay, so what I need to do with this one is take off the ones that came with the other machine. So there's 2 screws here. And you'll see this machine later on because what I'm going to be doing with this one. It's a 98, so I have to reinstall the 98 to show you that later on, but I need to get another drive for that, so yeah. So let's take that off. So that's the 2 parts off. 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to for temporary. I'm going to put these into the machine. Just put them in here for now, so they'll get secure. Because I lose these, it's difficult to find these type of old stuff. Dry rattling. I don't move this machine often. I'll put the front back on. Okay, so that's for them now. I'll do that at a later date. Put this back down. Oh dear, those are heavy. And here's the one we're going to remove. So with this, most of the time you can easily remove it just by looking around and having to unscrew it. But let's just use. But what we can do is just use the manual just to show you what this manual does. So let's switch back to the manual. So it's giving it. So this is basically an internal layout. So it's saying where everything is. So system board, power supply. There's the hard drive rack, floppy disk. Doesn't have one. CD drive up there. And release lever. There's no release lever here. But yeah, it's pretty good at doing layout. So what we're going to do. So layout of the board. So that's pretty good. So it tells you where everything is and how it all connected. This is that's the back side, so if it's facing that way, that's the front of the board. And if I go in here, there's additional one. So let's see, I want the hard drive one. So click on the hard drive, it comes straight to the hard drive page in the index. So here we go. So it says here about the hard drive. It says here before hard drive replacement, make sure you back up, follow the procedures in before you begin. And it says remove computer cover, because you can skip to a part. This is in order, and if you do that, it will say on here you need to do this before you can get to this part, especially with some laptops. So this is it. Remove hard drive. Disconnect cables there. Move the hard drive back from the computer. There's the screws there. So there's one underneath and one on the back. There's one actually under it. So there's on this side, and there's a red screw here, which is underneath there. And the manual says it tells you how to put the hard drive in, and then it says installing hard drive is in reverse. So that's that. I'll just close it now because we don't need it. I was just showing an example of what it does. So that's handy, but looks like it's good for laptops and stuff because it's a bit of a pain to get apart sometimes. So also that manual just told you the beep codes. I looked at it and it was still the same odd wings. So I take that, screw out there. That's the whole bottom. And there's another one at the back here, which is here. Now there's another slot here for another bracket, because you can buy these brackets and they're clipped together, so you can have 2 hard drives in here. But most of the time the manufacturers don't do it on these. Most of the time they don't give it the option here on these machines because not many people put 2 drives in OEMs. Right, yeah. Well, except for like, for instance, yeah, I don't see many options to have a second drive in them. The IBM has it because it was designed for that. So that's that. Also remove the power supply. Ooh, come off here. There you go. and it's simply just it's been a while since I pulled this out. Pulls on the back, so it angles like that. It goes like that, and then there's two hooks in the front of the machine which pulls it out. Just pull these back to make sure. That's it. And that's it. So there's the caddy. So that's how it would. That's how it fits in the machine that way. There's the hard drive. It's Western Digital Kevlar 40 gigs, and it's 11th September 2003. So yeah, it's a pretty old drive. It was just laying in storage, and I think it just gave out. It's fair enough for the age of the drive. So there's two screws here to remove. Red as well. So there's hard drive ones are red, which is good. So you know they're the right ones. 1, 2. And they just angle that out like that, and that's it. There's two notches on this side that hold the drive in. So that's that. That's the hard drive. Yeah. So what I would do is I have to check this over with some other software if it still works. If it does, it could be just completely died from a short or something. But if not, I'll take it apart later on in a separate video and show you what's inside one of these. Maybe it's dead, so yeah. So here's the other drive. Same thing, it's a Maxter drive, Diamond Max Plus 9, 80 gig size, so it's double the size of the other. And it was built on the 9th of November 2002. So yeah, another old drive. And this is an IDE drive, like the other. So you've got ribbon cable, jumper setting in, Molex cable. So I need to set the jumper, which is already set to. This is already on master, which is good. So I just need to put it back in the machine. So this is the caddy. There's one opening here, one fixed, so you always put the cables in the top end here, so you angle it in like this, and these two ends hook into the bottom of the actual unit, and it just clips down. You can see there's you can put it into a screw if you want to, but you don't need to because there's two metal clamps holding it in. And you simply put two screws in here and in here, which I'm going to do now. Also try not to jog the drive much, because it's in part, but you don't want to hit them hard. So that's that. So that's that screwed in, and then that's that screwed in. There you go, so the drive's secured. And the way this works is it goes in that way, so these little pegs go into two holes here, and then this slides in and locks in, and you put the screw in there, screw in here. Now you can see there's two additional more holes here. This would be, if you had another one of these, you could put two drives like that, so you can buy another one of these from the manufacturer at a time. I'd still buy them online. And the other drive would simply hook there and then close like that, and then another part there, so you can have two hard drives. It was designed to fit two, but at the time you're going to fit two in this because, like I say, it's an ID board, so you have two. Ribbon cable only has two, so it has master and slave, and then the other one would be up here because there's two bays for two optical drives. So they worked at the time. With SATA you can have them limited, depends what you want. So yeah, so I have limitations, but for the days that these were done, these were fine, and that's why I need to only have one drive. So let's put this back in. That's all the cables out of the way again. All the cables are not in the way. Angle it in, push it done, and then push it in, and it slides back in. So all the cables are in, everything's free. See the hole there, so put the actual screw for there to drive back in. again. So I've got to put the screws back in. The label is just the serial number, anything else. So it goes into this one here, and like I say, there's a notch there where the key sits, and see there's a spare one for another one here. So this goes in here. That's it. So that's now all back, and then all I need to do is reconnect the drive. So data cable. And the power cable. So that's everything back in. So I'm going to leave that there. Leave the case off it now. So that's that. There you go. I'm going to leave it down this way for now because I can't be bothered to turn it. Get the monitor back. Cables everywhere today. Oh no. That's it. That's the monitor. I'll show you what it says. The keyboard and the mouse. So let's put this bit there a bit. If anyone can see that, and I can see it as well. So there we go. So everything's back as it was. Oops. And just need to plug it back in. We don't have that in there. Indicator on the board, so when I push the power button this time it should do something. Ah, hit the drive. Oh, there you go. Yeah, can hear it. Do beeps then again, and it says, right, so it says if strike F1 to retry boot or F2 for setup. So let's go into the setup and verify. Setup. No, I want to go into the actual, see if it's actually in it, so go down to drive configuration, press enter, and here we go. So it says here, I know that tells you about the thing, so somewhere on here, hard drive sequence, nope, there you go, boot sequence, just says what order the boot is. System log, it tells me there's a yes, it also looks like this thing is done, so from its time life, and I went down the bottom here. Huh. There's a shop in there, so it's just always one that was put in the bed. There's an order, so this thing had a lot of things. Keyboard errors basically means someone didn't put the keyboard in. CMOS battery means the keyboard's failed. So 2005, keyboard, memory size difference. That's when I put more memory into this system. That's how long I've had it for. Keyboard errors is when I put it in, so like I said, it says, well, I think that's red. That's it. So yeah, so that's interesting. Just tell me what the drives, can't see the drive. Maybe it's because yep, so there we go, so it says it auto-inates, it's detected it, yeah. So this thing's basic. Yeah, so we're going to keep doing that. And the LED is still in amber, so yeah. It's because there's no OS on it, this drive's blank. So let's put the OS back on. So what I'm going to do is install, I'm going to put Linux straight on. I'm not going to put any other OS on this. Just put the Linux on because it just doesn't do anything. And also I might be buying another drive for it, so yeah. So I've got 2 gig flash drive, put it into my other system, and we're going to create the image. So the one we're going to use is, show you now, Linux Mint, because that's the one I've handy find, it's always used. So let's go to the site, click download, link minute 19.1, and you want to go down here and it says here download link. So you have Cinnamon, Mate, and XFCE. So understand, Mate and Cinnamon uses the GNOME layout, and this one uses the XTSC desktop, the varieties of Linux. Cinnamon is, I think, the latest one. Mate is more stable and uses an old GNOME, if I remember correctly, and the XTV is very good for systems that need low resources, like for instance this type of system. So I've downloaded the XT now, and I need to use the 32-bit because this is an old P4, so it won't work, no 64 will work, but you would use the 64. So 32 brings up through here, and it tells you what size, release notes you want to know, and you simply just click on your site. Ideal to go to the one that's closest to you. Don't forget the video variety RS, so you go to Rose Image 9.1, and then you need to click on the SH 256 sum. This brings up all the checksums for the disk at the moment. So this is for Cinnamon, Mate, XT, and that. And you have the code there, and what you do is you do an MD5, which this is a website go to for that. Click the /256, and then you simply drag your file over to here, which I'll do now, which is this one here. Drag it over and let go, and then process. This is very handy because it will tell you if it's been completely downloaded, or if if a link's been compromised on a site and someone's fiddled with it. So, for instance, they've renamed the OS to something else, or they've, in the past, I think they've had issues where people have put other malicious stuff on it. So it's not a pure one. So this is very good. This is also very good for like EXTs, ISOs, anything. That's handy because you know it's the original file, but also if it doesn't match, you know you might have to download it again, because I've had that before with limited sites or sites that they're going off. So this is very handy to test. I always do this with something like this because I want to make sure the disk is bright. This is 2, so yeah. The last letter is A2, 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 A2. I think the site size has a bug on it because I've had this issue before if it didn't match, but it is a general one, so yeah, I'll use that one there. Next one is then it needs a software called, you need a bootable drive software. So there's various ones. I use Rufus because this one's I've used many times and it's very handy and can do it straight away. So you go down to and the bottom says download, and these are both portable. The only difference is this one stores the INF file in your registry, so if you use it a lot, you have to keep changing your settings. This one creates a separate file for the INF. So that's what I do if you keep portable devices and that. So you click portable and download, which I've done already. So that's what I've done that. So that's here. Yeah, click download here. It's right here, the roof is here. Just going to drop this down for a minute, just leave the black down. So it's doing a run, you can do that, check online, drop that for a minute, and that's it. This is what it looks like. So, device, it's seen here, it identifies the flash drive to plug them in. So you have multiple flash drives just select here, so it's 2 gig, boot section, disk OS. So you've got non-movable, free ODOS, makes a free OS DOS or a disk image, and click select to select it, so we'll look for it. And it downloads, you want that one, click open, it reads it. And it says target system, that's fine. Show advanced properties if you need to do some other stuff. I sometimes have to tick this one here for the other system because it has issues where it doesn't read it correctly. So you can tick this, but I don't need to do it with the dell. Master boot, yep, that's what we want. and it says what the running name is going to be. You can rename it if you want, but I'll leave it as it is so I know what it is. File system, leave it as default, leave it default. Advanced format, I'll leave it as default because there's something else. And you see start. It says if you put your mouse over it, highlights, it says it start the formatting. This will destroy your data, so we click start. This gives it an image because it uses Linux. If you use any Linux boot system, it would come up with the same message. It says this system uses Syntax but the application includes the installation of our Syntax a new version are not compatible with one another, and we're supposed to run including them or not. So I would say yes to this. It would download the correct one and then it adds it to the image, so it will work. And it says what you want to do, DDoS, which means normally works, but if not, you can switch to DD. I'll try that. Done. ISO. Checks over, and then it gives us a warning here saying all data will be destroyed on that flash drive. Do you want to continue? So if you accidentally put a wrong flash drive in or your wrong selector, or you want to verify, you can click the cancel and it stops the process and you can have a look. But I know what the flash drive is, so I can click OK, and that's it. And it says here the status of settings, says deleting partitions and clearing the partition table, and then it's now creating a new flash drive. This process will take some time depending on how big the file is, and also using a USB 2 or USB 3 drive. So yeah, this is now creating this, and I've used Rufus a lot because it has a very good so far I haven't had anything boot from it, and it identifies what it is. So for instance, it knew it was Linux, so it automatically configured it right. For instance, I did a Windows, so it automatically asked me what type. So for instance, I did a Windows 10. It may ask you MBR or GPT, and it is UEFI and non-UEFI, so you can switch those around. So it's very, and it knows the file system, so it's really good at doing that. So I always used this and had no issues at all. And I always used this to do an XP before on an older system. So let's do this. So at the moment it's busy copying information. Like I say, it takes very depending on how big the ISO is. I don't know what that other PS connector on there. It looks like a 6 connector, but it's not for a graphics card. And at the time they didn't have that. I wouldn't touch that power supply. So yeah, that's unusual. Wait for it to complete. Sorry, I think the drive's still trying to eject out of that. yeah, the left drive doesn't seem to want to eject anymore. If you press the eject, it doesn't want to stick out. So I think they have a belt on those drives. I think the belt's just old. It's just not opening correctly. You can only pry it open. So yeah, so it's got an old drive in it, but I'm not bothered it much because I don't use it. It's there if I need to. Like I say, at the bottom of it, it tells you what is copied and how long. So yeah. It's completed, and this is now ready, so I need to click on close. And now I'm going to go back to the, and then click on the little eject flash memory, and pull the drive out. Always do that. So there you go. Switch it back to that. Bring the close that. So that's that now on here. So I can turn the USB port up in the back. So any USB port will do. It's all the bottom here. All the black ones at the bottom are the USB ports. And also, because I've installed it Linux, you want to also network on it. So I'm going to plug the LAN in as well, which goes here. There's indicators on the back here. Green is link, and the amber one will flash when it's communicating. So make sure that's hooked up as well. And I've just Control Alt Delete reboot. There's no reboot hard to search on, I know, so. And it's going to now look at the drive. Okay, sometimes it may not pick up the USB, so you have to turn it off and on again. Sometimes you can plug them in with standard boot bars to pick up, if not off and on, pick up. Okay, on the play. Next bit, well, if it didn't boot up there, press the F12 to boot menu. Okay, here's all the boots. So you got normal, which boots normal. Boot primary master, or just whatever C drive you have. Boot to the IDE. 5, it says boot flash device. 6, system setup. Let's go straight to system setup. And then one called drive IDE drive diagnostic. I think that tells you it's got built-in. Oh, I didn't know it has a built-in hard drive diagnostic. I can that drive from here. Ooh, you're noisy. At least it works. Yeah, these drives are old. Well, that's something I didn't notice. Well, a lot of manufacturers have this, like Dell's have them, and I think a few others have a built-in diagnostic which is built onto the BIOS, so that's handy. But yeah, that's the actual drive that's in the machine now. I don't think it would have worked with the old drive. Or would it? No, I don't think so, because the drive was not doing a diggy. There was no noise coming from it, it was just holding, so it would have been bad. Hopefully it's hanged up. Normally it would tell me if it was an error or not, but I know the drive works because it's been in a few old systems. So let's go to USB flash drive. Okay, that's the boot up for the. Okay, this is automatic boot. You can press the enter key to adjust the settings you want to, but you don't need to. now booting up to the flash drive. Like I say, the boot will take very time depending on, like I say, flash drive, well, if it's USB 2, USB 3, and also the system. So newer systems, they won't take long, but what it's doing now is loading into the it's loading into the live session. I think if you hit escape or spacebar, it will give you options like I can installate the hard drive or other options. But I'm just going to do it as if someone just plugged the drive in. So also what it's doing is checking out what your system is as well, so it's looking at the hardware configuration. Okay, so that's the so this is what the desktop environment looks like on the Lynx Mint KDE. So that's what it will look like when it's installed. So, and what you can do, you can actually use it like you would use it as normal. If it's stored in the memory, and it gets stored to the hard drive. So yeah, so if you want to test it, it's a good way to test it. You want to make sure. But if you want to install it, you simply just click on the install here, and this runs the installation setup. Okay, so it's asking me language. So your language and on there. Continue. I know the screen's a bit reflected a bit, so it's not difficult to see here, but okay. Now it says keyboard. So I want UK and standard UK. You can type. You can either detect it yourself, or you can just click here and type your keys to make sure it's right. That's right. Next. It's now going to prepare to install it. It's asking you to install third-party software for graphics, Wi-Fi, Flash, and others. Now, I would recommend doing that because it will store all the necessary stuff to make it work. You can do it later on, but you have to find out how to do it. But this is the easiest way. And it's linked to the network, so that's fine. So it's going to, so it's that. I know the screen's a bit effective, and I don't have a camera to be close up, or I don't have a capture link for this. So, but what I do is I'm going to do a few separate videos of how to install these, and I'll be using a VM, so you better see it here. Right, it says here installation type. So we're saying bottom says something else. You can do what you want with it, or erase disk install Linux Minix. There's no other options because there's a new disk, but if you had another OS on it, say Linux or another operating system, it will be an option here saying install with Linux and whatever it sees, and another option say wipe disk, but because it's Lean, you don't need to erase, so I just click on erase disk and install Linux. Something else allows you what you do. You can do create different partitions, separate the disk and all that. I'm not going to do that. Just need that one, so click that. Click install now. saying here, slightly changes are made to the disk. And basically, if basically you can go back and adjust anything, but once I click continue, it's going to create the disk, and that's it. So yeah, so what it's going to do is the partition table of the following device have changed. It's going to take SCSI. Well, it was not that, but it says the following will be written as an ext4, which is default Linux. Okay, so it's now starting to install. So it says here where you want to locate, so you can type your where you are and just load next to it. Leave it as London because you put your name in it. So I'm only put because that's what it is. Computer name. So this is what we're going to see on the network. Well, it's just 3000. Nobody finds the hardware manufacturers. It's fine. So this is your name. So put your name in there. If you want to put your name in, test there, and username is test and password now. When you first set up Linux, you need to set a password. This is your main administration password. Basically, it gives you access to the system. So this is a one-time password you need to put in. So I'll just do that now. I'm just doing this now to show you doing this. It tells you strong, weak. I've just done that because the system's normally, and it says require my password log on or log in automatically. I do auto because it's fixed. It doesn't do anything. It's just if you have personal stuff in the apps, you can switch it to log on, and that's it. So you click continue, and that's all the information it requires. Now it's going to just finish installing. So it tells you what it is. You can find out information about it. If you click this little arrow down here, it gives you the command box terminal, and it tells you the status of what it's doing, what it's downloading, installing, so you can just let it go, start job. The installation will vary depending on speed of hard drive, hardware, and all that lot. So yes, it takes some time depending. So yeah, so that's that one. And like I say, the Mint Linux is using the Ubuntu core, so it's a Debian. And it's using, that's why if you look at it, you've done installed this before, you can see the same system, but Linux is more like the basic for the beginners, because it has everything already there, you just connect and go. I think with Ubuntu, which I use the Ubuntu on that, because that's a bit more lighter resources than the Ubuntu. You need a bit more tweaking on it, if you want to do a few more things, you have to do a few more additional installations of stuff I found out. I'm not sure if it's the latest version that doesn't do that, but I found out I've used that a few times. I had to put additional thing in like exFAT programs so that it can read the exFAT files, and a few other things I had to do manually because it doesn't come with it like VLC player. But this one, if you install it, everything's there. There's everything we need to do. You just don't have to do anything. You just turn it on, set it up, and go. You don't have to fiddle around with it, which I find a bit more easier if you want a basic. But yeah, it's a bit nice on the interface as well. For instance, that's the most common one, but basically it's just people who just. Like I say, there's 3 versions of this, and no matter what desktop environment you use, they're still using the same core. So, what version you want, you can choose what you want. It's just each one has a different layout, and I think the higher ups require more resources. So, if you've got a good system, then I say Cinema's ideal. But I'm using this environment one because it's good on the resources on this one because you can't upgrade it. Because this system's a Pentium 4 2.8, I think, 2 gigs of RAM, and onboard GPU with I think it's 98 megabytes of RAM in it. You can't put a GPU in it because it's missing the slot. Some OEM manufacturers on the very cheap models that take slots off to save something. Like I say, there's loads of 3000 series. If I had more higher model, it would have slot for GPU, more RAM slots probably. So yeah, because you can see them all. The solder mask on the board where they're supposed to be. I'm not bothered with this one because, like I say, it's a test system. It's an old system that I was using for music and music playing. That's what it's capable of. Because if I wanted to do more stuff with it, I would have to use the 64-bit version. But I would be using more of my, if I was really wanting to do it, I would use the test system because it's 64 high memory and capacity and stuff. So I think I'm just using this one, so basic music and anything that requires quick access. It can use browsing on it if I need to take, if I have an issue, but rather than that, it just sits on the desk at 24 hours and has everything up. And normally I just put the audio system on, just turn that on, and that's it. But yeah, this one sort of threw me out because came over nothing, blank screen, and we found out the hard drives died. Well, so I think it died anyways, because thinking about it, I didn't hear the drive because this thing, when it's running, it was making a very small whine, which is normal for old drives to do. So I will minute whine, but when you got other things running, you don't hear it, and you can hear the I can hear the drive heads moving on this, which this as well. Old drives did that. You know, some modern ones do that. But yeah, this one stopped whining, so I think something's failed in here. Could be a motor failure or a number of things, so yeah. But also I've had a few times when hard drives are up this way and older drives they keep failing, maybe due to the angle, I don't know. So yeah, this has failed, and what you can do with a failed drive is, if the thing's working, you can hook it up to another system to try and pull data off if the other system can read it, or you can take it to a specialist who knows how to recover the drives from the state. But there was nothing on this, so it's not going to be bothering. So what I would do with this one is try to see if I can run diagnostic. If not, I'll probably take it apart to show what's inside one of these. That'll be a separate video, won't be live, so yeah. It's completely dead. It's lucky I've got not many spares now. I don't have many ID drives now because all mine's of SATA, which is same size now, but it's got the SATA connector. A lot faster than those, but that's why I have these ID drives, because I've got two systems that require it. And what I'd do is I'll probably just buy another cheap second-hand one for the other one, so they need much space for it. That's why it's only 80 gigs, because I'm not going to store anything on them anymore. Oh yeah, that was my first. It's surprising how fast they come up now, because my system used to have an 80 gig for a 98 XP machine, but now you need, these days it's minimum, I say 2.5. So minimum of the iOS 2.5.6, and then others if you're gaming at 500 plus. So it's become way ahead of it. At the time when this drive was built 10 years ago, about 14 years ago, they were expensive, and you were pretty good if you could get 160. Even before that, in a few years before that, my first system had a big drive was 10 gig, and that was expensive. I used that as a storage, and the other drive I think was about 4 gigs. So yeah, it's come away. Now you can get drives up about 4 terabytes or more now, all mechanical, and I think 1 or 2 on solid state, but they're a lot more expensive. But solid states are coming cheaper now since we've got now NVMe drives, so eventually, like I say, people say that mechanical drives will disappear and you have solid state, so that's good. And I say this now, if you have a laptop, best to swap it with a solid state because it's more reliable, it won't break, so I know they break faster than a desktop one. The only time I have a desktop failure is this old mechanical failure, like this one. Well, 10 gig one, they actually had a failure that it tricked the smart off, and it told me it's going to fail, so yeah. And other times I've had it where if you knock the case over, it can do that. Actually, no, it's pretty durable, but I've had one before where I've had to service it, and it's a very cheap metal case. Whoever built it, drive was sitting like this. It's still busy installing. So it's sitting like this. It was well, normal sitting like that, but when I looked at it, the drive was sitting like that, and system had blue screen of boot failure, and when I ran a diagnostic of the manufacturer, it came in with loads of sector damage, and what I could believe was that the thing wasn't secured tightly, and someone's hit the case and the drive went like that when it was on, which is not ideal because the heads are floating and the heads are just gone smack straight on the plate and made a bit of a gorge if I opened it. But luckily enough I could still read it to get the data off, so it was fine, but I made sure it was secured at that time. But yeah, that can happen. If the drive's not secure and you whack the case, you can cause these damage. At the time you can severely damage you hit them hard enough when they're on or off. I've actually damaged a hard drive before in a cradle by mistake on my old drives, in the cradle on the floor, and I've racked it like that and it made an error code. So yes, they're very delicate when they're drives, but they're still durable, but somehow I've said this a reckon. And laptops are worse because they're like off the size. When they're normally in a laptop, they're underneath you, moving around, up and down, everything else, and sometimes manufacturers put them too close to the heating system, to the cooling system, so they get very hot. That's what I find on most laptops, that they normally fail before a desktop. So yeah, so any advice I do now is swap them to smaller SATA drives if they're going to use much drive space, and it's more durable. So yeah, I'm just trying to spend time. So let's see what it's grub is installed in the grub installer. The grub is the Linux boot menu. Let's just installing. Yes, it's at the moment installing, so it's all of the stuff. Got it just plugged into the internet. If anything's new, it will pick them up as well. That's why I plugged it into boot up for it, so that way continue. That's because the still installing. Also, this would have gone a lot slower if I used a disk. So this life is a bit quicker, but still, it depends on the hardware. But no, this is also pretty handy. Like I've done in previous video of this machine, what you can do in our system, like put an old Linux on or something, and it'll still do its job. Mind you, not much because of the hardware, but that's fine what it does. Like I say, I only use this for audio stuff. My MP3s are stored on it for whether I'm not using the other system, and internet radio as well, so it's not for everyday usage. The hard drive. See, it's still doing its job. It's a long time since I heard hard drives like that. Makes you hear the heads constantly moving. Don't notice it much these days, and even on systems with mechanical drives, because they're so well installated and that they make them a lot more quieter. Also the cases as well, but no. so like I say now. Okay, so it's now finished. It says here, finish as a finish. You can continue testing Linux now, but until you restart the computer, any changes you make or documents you save will not be preserved. So that's what it's saying. So continue testing and restart. So I'm going to do restart now. Where's that mouse? Click restart. And now it's going to it's closing this session. That's rebooting now. And yeah, it's now rebooting off the hard drive. So I don't want the flash drive to hard drive. And the other thing is all 4 download state of these are green because it's seen OS. So yeah, so now it's booting up again. And that's booting from the hard drive. A little bigger than it is. I don't think anyone's going to use it in the other one. You can tell with old drives that it was working or not. That was a norm. People just got used to it. And most of the time, normally have audio running, so it wouldn't do that much. But yeah, it's been a while since I've had these. Like I say, boot time varies depending. Its first boots do take a while, but any other time, depending on the system. Yeah, it does depend on the system, because like I say, my test system boots faster than this. And it's only a dual core AMD Athlon 64, being 2.2 GHz, but it's got 4 gigs of memory and a GPU, so yeah. And that's about 10 years old, I think. But it has a faster drive. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, so you go. So this is what you get for work on screen. So it tells you the OS here. Show this dialog that not done. I'll just turn it off now. I don't need it. Okay, operating system. So click on first steps. It gives you the first steps here. So configure the firewall. Where does it say on your software? Change settings. Advise to do the update manager. I did the driver manager. This is for because sometimes it may not find hardware. It's pretty good at finding it, but not. And system snapshot. Once it's in Linux, you make a system snapshot. Every time often, it'll make a snapshot for your system. So, and every time you update. So if you update, like a new Linux kernel comes update, and then sometimes could have a bug that stopped it from working, you can go back. So it has that sort of protection built in. It's a small bar hard drive, and you're supposed to be on another drive and so on. But yeah. So, and documentation is about the documentation help and computer tutor, so let's do that first. System snapshot. It says required time administrator. See, it requires that password, which is that's like password you set up for the account, so that's required. If you're going to do some things in the system that required, if you dump it in, it won't do anything. So it's saying type. I'm not really on that. Let's see how to estimate the size of the system. What I'm going to do is where are you, little? I'm just going to eject the flash drive. I don't like that anymore. Don't need it anymore for now. Just wait for it to boot up. And it's difficult to see the display because, like I said before, the display sort of brights off the camera and it's a webcam, so it doesn't pick up much. I will do a separate video of this on the system with the VM, so it looks better. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so saying it's found there's the maximum drive, 82 gigs, SDA1. The way the system works in Linux, this is what your hard drive is. So A is hard drive A, and the 1 represents the partition. So this one is 1. So yeah, and yeah, so ext4. That's a file type. Size active grids and 72.3 says here. Next. And I'll ask you to do what you want to do schedule, so you can do it monthly, weekly, daily, hourly, whatever. I'm going to make it daily, so it does every day. I think once it starts running out of space, it starts replacing old ones. But you can tell it to. Also, you can it normally excludes your home and the root. And the home is where all your stuff's stored on Linux, and the root is the way the root. So you can actually include them if you want to. So you can include everything onto the file. It does make the thing bigger, but you can do that if you want to. It says here, schedule snapshots enable. Snapshots will create automatically for selected levels. The system can be rolled back to previous step, restoring a snapshot, and replace existing files and settings, non-hidden and directories, and user home directories not being touched. You can include if you want to. It says save snapshots to an external disk for failure, because if you save it on the main drive and that will fail if you lost anything. But if it's on your external disk, you can see you put a new disk in, boot the live disk, and then restore. So yeah, I can do that. When you store your files, so you just tell it to. But there's a backup software as well you can do that with. So yeah. Yes, it is. Save the snapshots on the existing stage to format restore as disk. About losing snapshots stored in it. It basically does everything that we need. So yeah, you can do really good stuff with it. Okay, so that's done. So when it creates one, it will be pop up here all your time shows active. This tells you how many snapshots and how much space device SDA1. So you go to settings and change it. You want to change the location. So you can still adjust it later date. So yeah, create and restore, and then it restores and it creates on its own. So that's that done. Drive manager, it's same thing. You need a password for that. Right. Update cache is going to download the information from the drive. The details will give you the information of what it's doing, so it tells you what's been downloaded. Little data drop down and tells you what parts data when it's in doing something. See it, what it's doing. Okay, so it's not showing anything up here, so that's good. If it found something, it will pop up here and say to use this or not. It's not ideal for mostly with some graphics cards or some hardware. I think on some stuff it does it, but they always add it up. Okay, so it doesn't need that. Next one you would do is the update manager. The update manager is the update, so that does everything on the system. So it updates the software on board and also the OS. It is a new OS. Files, patches, software update, system snapshot. So it does that as well. So if you made a mistake, you can reverse it. Does this recommend updates for? Yeah, to paste it. Yeah, okay. And like I said, the update manager's down here all the time. So exclamation mark pops up if it sees a new one. Green ticker, so okay. That one is showing that network, so it's LAN. It will change to Wi-Fi, so Wi-Fi installed. That one's your notifications for anything that's open. That one's power. And the last one's audio and clock. You can change the way that works. And not there, that's the menu, and a couple of icons you can add on here. And the thing about this minutes, if you press the Windows key, it brings up that menu, which I think is good. Anyway, so what it's doing now, it wants to, first what it says here, do you want to switch to a local mirror? And it faster the package. So I decided to do that because if you do it to a local mirror, it's faster to download stuff. Need admission rights again. Anything that's going to do hard configuration change like to the system, we need a password. So here it is. This is the software install. So main, which is where everything is, it's where it's supposed to be. This is basic. The basic is fine. It's already set to UK for me. So on the main one, just switched. So I'll click on the main, and it will start getting it tests each one, and the fast one's up here. So this is the fastest I know. It's University of Kent UK mirror service. So that's my fast one to me. So I'll click on that, click apply, and it shows up here. I can leave that one alone. You don't have to do the rest of this if you can adjust it if you want, but that's what I need to do. Since your configurations has changed, click OK to update your ATV cache. So do that and it resets the cache. Like I say, it's faster than relocated because Linux is open source and on donations are open source, so it's on loads of servers and that. So that's it. So close it. Click the refresh. Okay, so there's a 2 at the moment, so gives you the name here, version, type, so it tells you it's software update, and also you can tick these to update it or not, you can uncheck what you don't want. You click individual one tells you what it is and what the changes done. Also you can change the video columns, so I'll normally put the levels on, and size and origin size. For the origin, I need to do the origin, just put the size. So it's download size. Also, I put you can hide it and do what you want. And levels are 1 to 5, so 1's your low one, and 5 is like a critical. So install the update. That's before you password for that. Like I say, any major stuff like changing the operating system, you would require it. The software's not going to change much. It won't do just update. But it's going to change major settings, it will require you to do that, so that way you can't burrow it up. If you try to do something and you need the root password, so now I can screw it up if someone's playing around with it. Like I said, it's downloaded now, so I think it updated the update manager, so it's going to look now. So now it's going to look for any missing software that's come out ever since the thing's done. So I click this little button here to extend it. So these are all the software that's needs updating ever since the system was built. Well, the version of the kernel. So yeah, so you can see you've got sort of that level 4, it's just a high critical. The arrows are updates, like software updates. Little bolt is kernel update, so these update to the latest kernel. That's the main core of Linux. And little short is soft security, and severity is the level, so the higher it is, the least required. So yeah, normally you don't need to do much, you can just select it all and go. So select all and install update. This comes out and says this update will trigger additional changes, so it's telling me that these additional changes will occur either the following package will do stored additionally, because this stuff is required. So click OK normally and it will just install additional stuff. Sometimes a program might need another thing, it's not showing, not installed, so it will find them and install them for you. And it starts with a password, reason being because there's some security stuff and also kernel updates, so yeah. And it will start to install. It starts to download them first and then installs them afterwards. So you click the little download folder so you can see what it's done. See what's been downloaded. Each time you do this, it may be a bit fast because you've got to wait for it to update everything because it's not all the same stuff. It's whatever the. And like I say, speed of download depending on your network speed and also the drive because it has to save it, and installation also takes a while depending on your system. I think it does a check every day. It does a check every so often. Just a quick check in the background, so it always does it. And if anything occurs, it will just show up here in this little box here. It'll come up with exclamation mark saying below exclamation mark. It means there's something is updating. Green tick is okay, and if you've got red X, meaning it can't talk to the server. So basically, you've unplugged it. So yeah. Says download about 6 megs and estimated. Like I say, you only will install the latest version. Don't do old ones. There's just no point. Like I say, Linux system, it automatically updates. So if there's a software needs updating, it does straight away. Or if any security reasons, it's patched straight away. Like I say, occasionally they can break, and that's what that snapshot does. It allows you to go back until they find out. A lot of them for the same report straight away, and it gets fixed straight off. If you get that mishap, you can. If you can't boot the system up, you put the flash drive in to boot up, and you can do it from that way as well. So yeah, so you can do that. Install the software, so you can use the drop down menu if you want to see what's going on, and it's just the command box, and it just tells you what packets have been installed and that, so you can see what it's doing. Yeah, it's going to take a while. I think it shouldn't take too long on this one because, like I say, the drive here is 80 gigs. When I set the other one off, I think it was a 40 and I split it. It was about 20 gigs, which is not ideal for it. So it's got a bit more space to deal with, but like I say, speed depends on your system. And the screen looks white because of this display's on high. So just checking something. It's almost done because the bar's about here now, so it's got almost done as a progression bar. Actually, I might be able to. I might, no. It's still busy. Busy. Just doing the last check everything. Tells you what it's doing, so it's updating LibOffice. That's an Office product that's free and it's included, so yeah. But like I said, when the first time you do this, it does take a bit longer because it has to update everything that's been missing for a while. But then, every time you get an update daily, it won't take long because it'll be smaller files. Yeah, it's almost done, hopefully. I was really having the time. done. Just updating the grub basically, because every time you install a new version of the kernel, it keeps the old one. So you can go into more advanced menu. Say if you had an issue with it booting up from one kernel, you can go into more advanced menu. I can't remember how you get a key or something, but it's visible on dual boot. You can go to older kernels, so it will still work until the new one's fixed. So yeah, you can do that as well. So that's why it takes a bit of a while in the end, because it's updating the near the end. Okay, so it's completed the update. So what it's doing now is it's I guess it's your system is up to date, but you should always do is click refresh again to make sure, because sometimes it could be something else that kind of come up when you were busy doing it, or you need to do something else. So it's going to check again. Okay, so it says system up to date, and it's got green tick, so this is all updated now. So that's it. Now, if you do this a lot, like you install a lot of kernels and everything else, you may want to remove some of them. Keep one previous, but then remove others. So the way you do that is you use the same software. Go to View. There's a thing that says Linux kernels in the drop-down list, so you click that. It says warning. Proceed with caution, because if you use properly dries, if you face any of these issues, don't panic. We're starting out basically, which is there. And you can see here there's 14.8. So it's 14.5 at the moment, this one here. So these are all the kernels that are installed, and at the moment it says the one that's active is 14.5.20. So these are the kernels at the moment, and the install one is 14.5.46. The 20 is active because I'm doing it, so what I need to do first is to reboot. I'm going to reboot it first before I do that. I'll show you that in a minute. System settings allows you to change the system settings. I'll close this now. So from everything from appearance, desktop, desktop settings, all that, so you can change all you want. And I'm actually going to go to the appearance. Let's see. is it, you little mint and red? No, that's a one. There we go, that's better. Been in dark mode. I've always used dark mode a lot of stuff because it's such a new system, so yeah. So let's see, I'm going to reboot the system anyways to make sure the changes I've done. So click there, and it's at the top of the little button here, says here, log out, and then this option, so to restart, so this one here. That was, like I say, each version of the thing used to have different ways of showing it. Okay, it's booted up again. So see now, click on the. I think I should know where to do it now. Update manager, view, kernels. Yeah, that might work better now because you see the screen a little bit. Okay, the warning again. Which one's kernel active now? So yeah, so now rebooted. Now the kernel 4.15.46 is active now. Supports until 2023. So this button it says remove all kernels. If you push this, it will say select the kernel you want to remove, and the only one you can remove is 14.5.20. Now, like I said before, you should keep one old one because, like I say, if the new one had issues, you can go back to it. So I won't remove it. So I'll click cancel and then close that. But so, for instance, if you had the thing running for every 6 months, they normally update the thing to new version, so you may get a lot of kernels, and if you've got a small drive where you get them building up, you can start removing old ones but keep the last old one. It won't remove the one that's active. So yeah, so that's it. So that's all that done. So there, so that's all ready now for me to deal with what we did before. And like I say, it's got everything you can start up and go, but I do add additional things. I do change additional things for my own systems, but this is what you can do. So I need to get a program for it, but I can't get it through the download, or you can either get it straight from download sites, the deb, or you can go through the store, but what I need it for won't do that, so I have to go through another way. So I need to use the terminal. So the terminal is this little one here. Looks like a command prompt, or shortcut key is Control Alt T. This is the terminal. So this allows you to do other things like run installations and do other tweaks that you do. More advanced Linux users would use this, and you can do a few things in this, but I'm going to just use this to install. So it's a customizer for the grub, so I need to put this in. I'm just looking because it's on written on the other screen. Okay, yep, install it. Okay, and then I need to do okay, and then final one. Okay, that's done, so exit. That's the software installed now. So I'll go into here now, go into settings, there's something called Grab Customizer. Like I said before, this is a Grab Customizer, so this is what the grab is, what I say is the partition on there, which is the bootloader basically. Windows bootloader, this is for Linux. So when you load it up, it tells you what's installed. So it says here Ubuntu with Linux 14.5. You've got recovery mode, and you've got the other two versions, which is 14.5.20 and that, and then you've got memory test as well. So this is Ubuntu, so this is where it sees, and there's a folder of additional ones where every time a new kernel comes in, the old one gets moved to here. This is what I say occasionally to get the old ones. Remember test and everything else. This is the advanced menu. I think you push down shift from boot to show this, but if you had a dual boot, this will show up anyways, and underneath it will be like other OSs if it sees them. So you can use this to customize it. General settings is what I'm going to, so it can do predefined, so you can tell it which one to select first. So first entry, which is at the top, you can tell it what order, so when you turn the system on, which one to auto boot in certain seconds. Or you can do it as previous boot entry, so this is for, it will just boot to the last one that was run. You show the menu, look after it, you can also put the boot default inventory from default 10 or up and down. Let's see, the bottom one I want to do is this kernel presenters, quiet and splash. And what this does is, at the moment it's in quiet mode and splash shows the splash screen is booting. I'll normally with my system remove this entry, because what this does is, if I remove this entry, is when it boots it won't show the splash screen anymore, or be quiet. And when it boots the Linux, it will show up the Linux startup. So when it boots, it shows a lot of text and what it's doing and what's been loaded and that. So I normally have this on all systems, because if anything goes wrong, it's normally halt, so you can see what it's doing. But you don't have to erase this, but I normally do it. And the last one, the parent settings. So what this does is you can actually put your own theme on to the boot menu, so you can change colours and everything else. So there's a lot of tasks, but also be careful, because if you do something wrong here, you can corrupt the boot record. You can't corrupt it, but if you decide to do something damage, you have to then boot up to the startup disk and then run the command to repair it. So once you've done that, you can click save, and it updates the grub. It says updating. No, it doesn't take this long, but I think the system's doing something else at the same time.